I used to work the overnight shift at a 24-hour McDonald's off the interstate in southern Indiana. The kind of place that feels more like a gas station than a restaurant. You know the type, flickering lights, sticky floors, and regulars who never seem to have a reason to be there. It was a Tuesday night, or Wednesday morning, technically, 2:47 a.m. The lobby was closed, drive-through only. I was manning the kitchen alone while my manager, Janet, took drive-through orders up front. She was maybe 5 years older than me, but had the dead-eyed look of someone who'd already aged out of caring. I was in the back restocking hash browns when I heard her voice over the headset crackle. He's not ordering," she said. "He's just breathing." I thought she was messing with me. Sometimes we played little pranks to keep the graveyard shift interesting, but her voice sounded off. I came up to the front and looked at the monitor. A man was sitting in a silver Chevy Malibu at the speaker box, engine running, headlights off. The camera didn't show his face clearly, just the outline of his head. Janet tapped her headset. "I've asked him 4 times if he's ready. He hasn't said a word, just that slow breathing." I picked up the headset and tried, "Hey man, you good? This is McDonald's, not a confession booth." No answer, but the breathing got louder, closer. We waited. A minute passed, 2. Then the car slowly rolled up to the first window. The interior lights were off. We couldn't see his face. He didn't roll down the window. He just sat there. Janet leaned a little toward the glass. "You think he's—" The driver's side window rolled down, just a crack, and a hand slid through, holding a $20 bill. Only, the hand was covered in something. Not blood, not dirt. Grease. Black, sticky fryer grease, like someone had dunked it in the bottom of an old grill trap. It dripped thick globs onto the sill. We didn't say anything. Janet just took the bill without looking at it. Her hands were shaking. The man spoke, finally. "Number 4. No cheese." Then the window slid up again. We looked at the 20. It was covered in the same grease. It stank, like old meat left out in the sun. I went back to make the order, and when I handed the bag to Janet, I noticed she hadn't moved. Just stared out the window at the car. He didn't take the food. Not right away. The car just sat there for a while. Lights off, no movement. Then the passenger window rolled down, and someone else was in the car. But here's the part I still can't explain. The second person, they were wearing a McDonald's uniform. The same one I was wearing, name tag and all. Only the name tag said my name. I said something, maybe "what the hell," and the headlights suddenly flicked on, full blast into the window, blinding us. When we blinked the light away, the car was gone. No taillights, no engine noise, just gone. We checked the cameras, nothing. The feed cut out for about 12 minutes. Dead air. Janet quit the next morning, never even picked up her last check. Me? I stuck around a few more months. But every now and then, right around 2:45 a.m., the speaker will crackle to life. No voice, just that slow, steady breathing, and sometimes, just sometimes, a number 4, no cheese, will print automatically on the order screen, even when no one's at the window. This happened in 2020, right after the pandemic lockdowns started easing up. I had just moved to a new town in North Carolina and picked up a job at the McDonald's near the edge of town. It was one of those older ones, faded red roof, the original play place still standing outside but all taped off and sun-bleached. I mostly worked evenings, but on this particular night, I was covering for someone on the closing shift. It was just me, the night manager Kyle, and another guy named Travis. Around 11:30 p.m., a guy came in, tall, wearing a baseball cap low over his face, sunglasses at night, hoodie zipped up tight. He sat in a corner booth where the security camera was busted, near the window that looked out to the parking lot. Ordered a coffee and a McChicken. That's it. Nothing weird at first, until we noticed he never touched the food, not one bite. Just sat there, staring. At first I figured he was just tired or strung out. Happens more than you'd think. But after about 45 minutes, Kyle went over to ask if he was doing okay. I was watching from behind the counter when he leaned in and said something to the guy. The man didn't move, didn't even flinch. But I saw Kyle stop mid-sentence and slowly back away. When he came back, I asked him what the guy said. Kyle shook his head, and I'll never forget the look on his face. Pale, like he'd seen something he couldn't explain. He didn't say anything, he whispered, just smiled, but not like a normal smile. It looked fake, forced, like he was showing off how many teeth he had. I thought Kyle was messing with me. He had a dry sense of humor. But then Travis came back from taking out the trash. He was wide-eyed and shaking. "There's no car out there," he said. "What?" I asked. "I mean it," he said. "No car. Nobody dropped him off. He's just here." We were closing in 10 minutes and the guy still hadn't moved. So Kyle, being the manager, went over one last time and told him we were shutting down the lobby. That's when things got off. The man stood up, slowly, stiff, like he hadn't moved in hours. Then he walked toward the bathrooms, not the exit. Kyle followed him, banging on the door a few minutes later. "Sir, you've got to go." No answer. Eventually, Kyle used his keys to open the door. The bathroom was empty, and I'm not saying that lightly. I mean empty, like no sound, no smell, nothing. Not even the paper towel he used after touching the coffee cup. That cup, still sitting on the table, completely full, untouched. We checked every inch of that building, every stall, every closet, every back exit. We even checked the walk-in freezer. Nothing. But here's the part that really gets under my skin. About a week later, a state trooper came in for breakfast and struck up small talk with Kyle. I wasn't close enough to hear everything, but I caught a name: James Whitaker. Apparently, Whitaker was a local guy who had gone missing in 2007. One night, he left his shift at the McDonald's off Route 5 and was never seen again. Just vanished. Left behind a car, phone, even his wallet. Kyle asked the cop to pull up a photo. It was the man from the booth. Same hoodie, same hat, same weird forced smile. Only problem? That location on Route 5 had been shut down for over a decade, and it was torn down the year before. So if that man really was James Whitaker, where the hell had he been for the past 13 years? And more importantly, why did he come back to our McDonald's? This happened in 2019, when I was working at a McDonald's just outside St. Louis. I was 21 at the time, saving money before starting community college. Our store was in a rough part of town, the kind of place where you learn to keep your head down and not ask questions. One night, I was on lobby duty, mopping floors, wiping tables, restocking napkins, basic stuff. It was around 10:45 p.m. We closed the lobby at 11, so I figured I'd give the bathrooms one last wipe down before locking up. I went into the women's room first, empty, smelled like bleach. I gave it a quick once-over and moved on. Then I opened the men's room door, and I immediately froze. There were feet visible under the stall door, not moving, just standing. Now, normally I'd say something, but this didn't feel right. The shoes were old, torn-up work boots, caked in dried mud. The laces weren't tied, and they were pointing backward, like the person was facing the toilet tank, not the bowl. Just standing there, not sitting, not using the bathroom, just standing. I stepped back and quietly left the room. I didn't want to cause a scene, but something about it sat wrong with me. I told my manager, Ashley. She shrugged it off. Probably a homeless guy. They sneak in sometimes. Just knock and tell him we're closing up. I didn't want to go back in there alone, but I also didn't want to look scared. So I grabbed the mop handle, just in case, and knocked hard on the bathroom stall. "Hey man, we're closing. Time to head out." Nothing. I knocked again. Still nothing. Then I crouched a little, tried to get a better angle of the feet. They were gone. I didn't hear the door open. I didn't hear movement. The stall door was still closed, but the feet, the boots, were gone. I swung the stall open with the mop handle, heart racing. Nobody was there. But sitting on the toilet seat, perfectly centered, was a folded McDonald's employee uniform. Hat, shirt, name tag, everything. Only the name tag said Kevin. That might not mean much to you, but I'd seen that name before. Kevin was a guy who used to work at our location a few years before I started. He'd been fired for punching a customer and never came back. According to Ashley, he'd gotten into drugs pretty bad. He was last seen in the alley behind our store, a year before I started working there. Then he just disappeared. I wanted to call the police, but Ashley wouldn't let me. Said it'd bring bad press and that bums leaving weird stuff wasn't a reason to make a report. But here's the thing. A few weeks later, someone did call the cops. A customer. She was in the women's bathroom with her kid when she saw a man's hand, big, greasy, pale, slowly reach under the divider between the stalls. Just reached in, palm up, like it was waiting for something. They never caught who did it. But when they looked through the security footage, the last person to enter the men's bathroom before my shift that night never came back out.